Do you sometimes eat uncontrollably large amounts of foods even if you're not really hungry and it's like a compulsive thing that you just can't stop? If so, then you're probably dealing with binge eating episodes. You may feel like they are the cause for your weight gain or the reason why you're unable to lose weight because you otherwise eat pretty healthily, but then you just have these binge episodes where you eat uncontrollably large amounts of food, and so all of your efforts are kind of done for nothing. But today I'm going to share with you my secret on how you can stop binge eating. So I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I'm not gonna keep you waiting. I'll tell you what the secret is, and then I'll talk about what it actually entails and then how you can actually do it. And the key to letting go of your binge eating episodes is to get out of the food scarcity mindset. And the food scarcity mindset basically means that either physically or mentally you feel like you're not getting enough food or that food is not going to be available to you. And it doesn't have to be food on a general scale. It can be like a certain type of food, even like a certain food. And just all of this creates restriction and creates this frustration, which will then drive you to compensate by binge eating. So the first thing you need to do in order to get out of this food scarcity mindset is to make sure that you have no reason to physically feel that you are in a food scarcity mindset. There are tons of studies that have shown that people who have been deprived of food for a period of time, people who have lived through famines or things like that, then create this food scarcity mindset in their head, and then they tend to obsess over food more. They tend to want to binge on foods more and to have like bigger amounts of food because they're so used to not getting enough food. So you want to make sure that your body does not feel that way. And the first way to do that is that you need to make sure that you are eating healthy, full, balanced meals at least 3 times a day. So I feel like I talk about what you need to be putting in those meals every video, but I guess that repetition works and it's very important that you know these things. So you need to be putting in each meal, you need to be having some whole grains. So whole grains are going to be more beneficial for you than refined grains. So anything like brown rice, whole wheat pasta, bulgur, quinoa, all of these things. You also need to be putting plenty of fruit and vegetables and varying up the different types of fruit and vegetables as well. Like switch up the colors that you're having so you're getting plenty of different antioxidants, things like that. You also want to make sure that you're getting plenty of legumes. So all the lentils and all the beans, chickpeas, all of these things. That's also a good source of protein, and you want to make sure that you're getting enough protein. So with these beans or with other sources like tofu or like certain lean meats or eggs, fish, and then making sure that you're having things like nuts and seeds and that you're having herbs and spices as well, and that you're drinking plenty of water. So that is to make the balanced meal. Then another thing that you need to do, and that goes into the balanced meal as well, is that you need to make sure that no food is off limits and that you allow yourself to have treat foods in moderation and that you really incorporate them into your meal. It's not healthy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna have a salad for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. That's going to lead to binging. That is what is going to make you want to have a cheat meal on the weekend. So in order to not do that, you want to take whatever it is that you binge on and you want to incorporate it into your meal. So let's say that you feel that you always binge on chocolate. Well, what you need to do is actually incorporate some chocolate into your meals. So when you're planning out your meal, when you're thinking about putting in the things that I talked about, like your whole grains and your veggies and your beans, also leave room to put some chocolate. To make things really simple, you can use the 80-20 principle. It's not what I prefer using, but I feel that in this situation, it's pretty easy. So basically 80% of the foods that you eat should be like mainly healthy whole foods that we talked about, and 20% should be foods that are a little bit more fun, a little bit more like treat foods that will bring you other benefits. It's not going to be like necessarily health, nutrition, like nutrition wise, the benefits, but it's going to keep you satisfied. It's going to keep you emotionally satisfied, and it's going to keep your cravings fulfilled so that you don't then go on and binge. This is really, really important because so many people think that having the perfect diet, eating 100% clean, that's what's going to make them healthy. So they do that for a day, a week, 2 weeks, and then they just can't take it anymore and then they binge. Or they've been doing that for a long time. They're in this binge then restrict cycle where they just can't stop themselves from binging and just eating abnormally big quantities of food. And that's because they're not incorporating these foods into their diet on a regular basis. I mean, the body craves what it can't have. The body craves something if you feel that it is scarce. That is a normal biological response. It's very, very important that you do not restrict your food intake whatsoever. This does not mean that you should eat whatever you want. Of course not. Like I said, keep this kind of 80-20 principle, but please don't restrict your food intake and make sure that you're not feeling hungry and that you're feeling really full and satisfied with every meal that you eat. Now, if after this part you're like, hold on, I feel like I eat pretty healthy, balanced meals. I don't feel like I restrict my food intake or even that I restrict my treat intake, but I still have binge eating problems. Well, in this case, you're probably dealing with mental food scarcity. What this means is that even if you are eating the foods, even if you don't feel like you're physically restricting yourself, you have a part of yourself mentally that is saying, I'm not supposed to be eating that. This is bad. I shouldn't be having this. This is going to make me gain weight. And oh, I'm a bad person for eating this, blah, blah, blah. All of these diet thoughts that are really clouding your head. And all of this is going to lead to you not enjoying your meal experience, even if you do end up having your meal experience. So to give you like an example, to make it a little bit more clear, let's say that you want to have like a slice of cake and you eat your slice of cake, but then before your slice of cake, you're like, okay, this is really bad. I shouldn't be doing this. I really need to get back on track. This is not the goal that I had for myself. This is not good. But then you're like, okay, I still really, really want it. So you eat it. And then while you're eating, you're like, okay, this is super fat, this has so much sugar, this is going to be so bad for me, I'm gonna need to burn it off. And then when you're done eating it, you're like, okay, I shouldn't have done that, I'm so stupid, I have no willpower. And throughout this whole experience, you did not even enjoy that slice of cake. You were not fully present in the moment where you were eating that slice of cake. So you weren't able to experience the emotional satisfaction that the cake might have brought you. And since we know that your emotional hunger is also very much linked to your physical hunger, it's possible that it doesn't even satisfy your physical hunger because you were so busy in telling yourself that you should not be eating it. So the issue with that is that you're going to still need some food to experience that satisfaction that you didn't allow yourself to experience in the first place. And so you're actually going to be needing increasingly big amounts of like treat foods in order to fully feel satisfied. Because again, you're not 100% there and you're not 100% letting yourself feel these feelings and enjoy the food because you're always so busy telling yourself that this is bad. You absolutely need to let go of the good food / bad food mentality. There are no good or bad foods, only foods that are good or bad in specific situations. Yes, certain foods are undeniably healthier than others, have more nutrient than others. However, certain foods will also bring you more pleasure and emotional satisfaction and will be able to satisfy your cravings than others. They are all necessary in order for you to have a balanced and healthy way of eating. So kind of along these lines, what you really need to do as well is to let go of your fear foods. So it's possible that there are specific foods that are especially triggering for you in binges and that you are scared to have in the house, or you're scared to even eat a little bit of because you feel that you will go down the rabbit hole with them and you will start to binge. So it's really important that you do active work to let go of your fear surrounding these foods and that they become just like any other food. So a food that you enjoy from time to time, that you don't obsess over, and that you can eat in like moderate amounts without finishing the entire box or whatever it is. I made an entire video on letting go of your fear foods that you can check out right here if you're interested, or in the description. But just to give you a little summary, what you need to do first of all is you need to identify your fear foods in order to actually know what you're dealing with. And then you need to kind of make a list and try to find a hierarchy. So the ones that are like real fear foods that you feel that you cannot even have in the house, or foods that can trigger a little bit of a binge, but it's like, okay, like it's not that bad. You want to organize these foods in a way where you know which ones are the ones you fear the most and which ones you fear the least. And then you want to start with the ones that you fear the least and try incorporating them little by little into your meals. In order to do that, you need to make a plan to incorporate them in a way that is not going to be overly stressful. And again, in my video, I go into detail about how to do that. And then once you overcome one of these foods, you can incorporate the rest. best and overcome the rest. But what you really should not be doing is banning any of these foods from your house. It's very important that you still keep these foods available, accessible to you. And even if there may be a moment where you feel like you're still overeating them, even if they're in your house, that is just a temporary moment until your body learns that the foods are going to be available for you whenever you need them and that you don't need to binge on them. Like, it's fine. And then finally, you really need to make an effort to stop shaming yourself for eating these foods. If you're able to stop viewing foods as good or bad, and if you're able to let go of your fear foods, then I hope that this will also come. But you need to make an effort to kind of shut down the voice in your head that's always telling you, this is bad, you can't have this is the wrong choice, and make like counter arguments for everything. Like, if your voice is telling you in your head, like, that has too many carbs, that's gonna make you gain weight, then in your mind you can be like, okay, carbs don't make you gain weight necessarily, this is a nice treat that I want to enjoy, I can fully enjoy that treat and it's not gonna ruin my diet, and then I'm gonna have my dinner as usual, and my dinner is a healthy, balanced meal, so it's not really going to change anything if I have like this cookie right now. So now that you've learned about food scarcity and that you've seen that it can be mental, even if you feel like you're not restricting food physically, it can still have an impact on the way that you eat, and it can still cause binge eating. So I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that you're able to identify kind of the triggers for you and able to put certain things in place in order to control your binge eating episodes, which are not fun at all. And I also have another video that I made on binge eating, which covers different things from this one, if you're interested in checking that out, right here or in the description. And of course, I also offer one-on-one consultations if you feel like you need a little bit of extra help and you feel that you need someone to help you professionally get through your binge eating episodes. And I'll leave the information for that in the description. So that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.